Hi, readers. How are you? Happy Monday. So good to see you. So, this week we're going to talk about reading. With that, we want to think about our feelings, continue to explore our feelings as we did last week, thinking about sort of checking in on our feelings. And this week, we're going to really explore um, do we recognize, are we able to even recognize some feelings? Um, so we're gonna talk about that as well. But the first thing that I want to talk with you about is the importance of book selection and audience. Two things really important. You know, when we're thinking about reading, we want to figure out like what books do we really like, and it's really important to be able to have somebody to talk to about those books. It should feel as if the books are living inside of us, are continuing to have an impact on us or have an impact on us. And I feel like in order to really make that happen, you got to talk to somebody about it. So one thing to think about, I'm going to share with you a little bit about selection. The other thing to think about, who's your audience going to be? Can you talk to your book with your parents about your books? And you know, when I think about that, I think about like, how is a book really impacting you? Um, how is it making you think or feel differently? Which is again to think a little bit about our feelings. You know, books can make you books can make you um, they can make you cry, they can make you laugh, they can make you annoyed, they can make you angry, they can make you scared. And so how are books making you feel, and then those characters inside of those books, but how the books are making you feel, that makes for great discussion with your parents. So let's think a little bit about book selection. Okay, I'm going to get set up. Um, uh, Hang on, here we go. In just 1 minute, give me a second. I will have this ready for you. Okay, here we go. Remember feeling words? So we want to think about that for sure when we're thinking about books. Oh, I also have to make sure that I share the screen with you, which I didn't do. So let's see if this helps. There we go. All right, let's now. Okay, sorry readers about that. So again, like really thinking about like, you know, what's the difference between feeling annoyed, angry, frustrated, like really thinking about our feelings and how books are making me feel those ways. So, but first of all, first and foremost, we need to select some books. So I think the thing that I think there's a couple of ways to think about selection. One is genre. What is, do you tend to like, you know, realistic fiction books? Rules is great for that. It is, you know, about a girl whose brother has autism. So it sounds like real life, and it's just a beautiful book um, to think about, like what you know real kids go through in real life. I tend to, this is a go-to genre for me. I love realistic fiction. It's one of my favorites. um, Stargirl is another one by Jerry Spinelli. By the way, anything by Jerry Spinelli is amazing. I would highly recommend him. I'm trying to find, sorry, the book. Oh, where are you? Oh, here we go. This book, Ringer, is one of my favorites. And really, if you are an animal lover, you will totally identify with this boy in this book. And It's so good and so important in so many ways. Same thing with Stargirl, you know. So anyway, not an animal lover so much, but just about really being true to yourself. I feel like that's a huge, amazing book in that way. If you're a fantasy person, this is a great book, The Castle in the Attic. I think, you know, fantasy, anything that feels like, um, you know, knights, dragons. This is, if you're into that, this is one of a true fantasy that has like, you know, similar things like that. And of course, you know, Harry Potter is one of the best, but is that something that you like? Is that something that you enjoy? This is part of the Percy Jackson series, which a lot of kids like. Has to, you know, it intertwines fantasy and mythology, so it's kind of cool in that way. Um, what about if you're somebody that likes a lot of humor? You know, books that are, you know, just have sort of fun titles that feel like they, I mean, this is one of my favorites. Fourth Grade Rats is one of my favorite books ever. And it's funny. There's also one that's called Third Grade Angels. It's funny, but it's also realistic. It's just it's a great book about growing up and the things that we deal with, you know, in that way. Are you somebody that likes graphic novels? You know, this is a great series to think a little bit about if you're somebody that enjoys graphic novels. Um, Thinking about different ways that books are even written, my niece Piper said that Annie's life in lists she loves. It's a story, but it's told kind of in lists throughout, and it's just sort of a different way of writing that Piper said was like, you know, one of her favorite books ever. Um, More sort of realistic fiction that I have some of my top favorites. Um, I have a bunch here just to share. If you're into that, if you're, I am definitely into realistic fiction. I mean, these are some of my favorite books, probably ever. Um, so let me make sure that I get them to you. The One and Only Ivan, another book that if you like animals, this is one of my favorite books. It looks kind of thick, but there's not a lot of words on the page, which makes it really nice and a quick, easy read. But really special book about friendship and about thinking about animals and animal rights. Really powerful. Pinky and Rex. James Howe is one of my most favorite writers of all time. He's an incredible human being, and he's written so many books. Pinky and Rex and the Spelling Bee is probably my favorite book that he's written. But he has many books in this series, Pinky and Rex, and it's a really important book when we're first starting to think about really thinking about books changing us. It's about friendship, and the series, each one in the series just is very powerful. Short, pretty easy to read, good book for second graders. And anyway, powerful book for discussion. Anyway, my name is Maria Isabel. I love this book. It's another really good book if you're a third grader reader. Great book about the importance of your culture and your heritage and how your name matters to you, and nobody better change it. Very powerful. Love this book. Great book for, sorry, I froze up here. Great book for third, fourth graders, The War with Grandpa, about, you know, loving your grandfather, but also fighting for your room and your rights and having like a little bit of a war with a family member. It's kind of fun, actually. Another great book about animals and about a friendship and about fighting for animals and growing up. Shiloh's great book for fourth and fifth graders, one of my favorite books of all time. Love That Dog. Readers, I love this book. It is so powerful, such a fun book. But the cool thing about it is written in a diary form. So every day you can see that the dates are up top, and time moves pretty quickly. It's written in a diary, also feels very poetic, but it's a story about a little boy that, you know, yeah, a little boy that goes through a lot of change, really powerful. And then Tiger Rising, readers, is another book that I think is so great. Another one about animals, about this special tiger in the woods that Rob, he needs somebody in his life now more than ever, and he makes a great friend in Sistine, and then he makes a big decision about this tiger. It's a great, one of my all-time favorite books. So readers, think a little bit about what matters to you. Do you care about animals? Do you want to read books that maybe have a boy as the main character or a girl as the main character? Does that not matter to you? Are you somebody that wants to read realistic fiction? Hang on one second. One of my favorite books that I should have meant to get. Huh. One of my favorites of all time that when I was young I read, but it's so powerful. Now, Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret. A girl is the main character, and it has a lot to do with her, being in sixth grade and growing up and moving from a big city to, more of a suburban area. So lots of changes for her. This book is life-changing. If you are a fifth or sixth, seventh grader and you have not read it, it is a must book. So readers, just think about what do you care about? A book should never feel hard, and it should never feel like you're bored either. And so you don't want to abandon a book too quickly, so be careful with that. If it feels like the book is hard for you to read and understand, then that's a good time to abandon it. However, if it feels like it's boring, give it a little bit of time. Sometimes it takes up to the fourth or fifth chapter before you're like, wow, this is the best book. Some books don't get great for me until the very end. So you just never know, readers. But most of all, like, it should change your life. And think about that audience. Think about, who are you going to talk to about this book? And, ask your family members, hey, I'm reading. I'm trying to keep my reading life going. I'm trying to read for long stretches of time, which we will talk about more tomorrow and the next day. But I need also talk to be part of that. And that's a powerful piece around reading. Okay, readers, happy reading. Get the best book for you, and have a great rest of your day. Stop sharing.